And hopefully this presentation will complete the cycle. So finance is one of the key core aspects that is required to help complete the whole infrastructure. So presentation here today is more about building an infrastructure, not a product, completing an ecosystem that enables a smooth and transparent audit trail on everything that we do. So the vision is about collaborating and building an ecosystem that allows agriculture innovation. It's changing the way farmers, producers, suppliers transact with each other across a smooth, streamlined process. A unified system that empowers every stakeholder in the chain. So it's not a project, it's re-engineering of the value chain, end to end. The vision is in line with the UAE's National Food Security Strategy, and hopefully this will complete the whole process. There are two sides of the challenge. There's the financial bottlenecks and there's the disconnect. I know there was a brief discussion about data, and data is critical and crucial to help with the assessment, and cash flow inefficiencies as well, and enabling reducing the dependency on cash and going more down the digital route as we progress. Those are the core pillars, the Mbank's vision, and what we're trying to build in terms of an ecosystem in general. So inclusive finance is something that relates to the data and how we analyze and assess that data. Collecting data from the agriculture industry is always tricky because it's very seasonal. It's not as transparent as other industries in the market. So bringing unbanked farmers and workers does help create that deep dive in terms of data analysis and how to read the data and assess customer integrity and to assess the flow. When the data is connected, we use it to build better credit scores that will then ensure that all the stakeholders are ready and prepared, because specifically this is a very seasonal industry. So there will be ups and downs, but as long as the stakeholders are prepared, that's how Mbank's package and ecosystem that's being designed helps make sure there's no hiccups down the road. Efficiency and trust. As the world becomes more connected, I think trust and efficiency in doing business cross borders is equally important. So this builds an audit trail across the value chain, strengthening relationships between producers and other stakeholders across the globe. Capital technology, there's always evolution and there's always requirements to enhance and grow what we're trying to build. So capital injection, creating tailored loans specific based on the assessment of the product itself is key to ensure continuity and to create a more connected ecosystem that addresses all the financial barriers in that journey. Digital is a key word. That is, I think the world is evolving into predominantly a digital flow. Today, a trade finance deal could potentially take from 1 week to 2 weeks to complete, but using a digital footprint will enable that to potentially happen in minutes once all the dots are connected across the ecosystem. Agility is key. So short-term financing, including long-term financing, are very seasonal, depending on the industry that is being supported. Agriculture, I understand there is a lot of seasonality in it, there's a lot of volatility in it, and the liquidity required to help develop and support the industry is one of the main aspects of this ecosystem. So modernizing payroll systems, connectivity, transferring, cross-border, helps complete the end-to-end and smoothens the whole process. Now, wallets are important. So Mbank's M-Wallet is there to help create and design an infrastructure for the industry that connects all its stakeholders within that stream. And it closes the payment loops. So from farm to suppliers, from employer to employee, and from local to global to cover any cross-divisional elements. Being more digital in nature, again, we go back to the data assessment and the analysis. We streamline the process. There's a proper audit trail, which allows more effective and more accurate description of the nature of the business that's being supported, which ultimately then helps create the tailored loans that we discussed, that I spoke about. Stablecoin. The UAE stablecoin is now one of the core elements in the next step of this evolution. It will ease the cost, it will improve the turnaround time, and it will mitigate many risks, including currency risk, cross-border. So the currency volatility from the transaction using the AED stablecoin is something that is well embedded into the framework that's being developed. These are, I won't go through each one, but digitization, data, access to capital, reinforcing the cycle, and increasing productivity and profitability were the core objectives of creation of this ecosystem, which in today's world is still at a very early stage, still is not fully mature, but it's definitely the next step forward. I know here on the slide it says the end goal, but there is really no end goal for this journey because it's continuous development. This is just the first step in the very near future. So it's all modern, it's tech-enabled, it's financially resilient, it protects the industry, protects the value chain, and it's in line with the national vision of the UAE.
I think the food and beverage sector is expecting really more from digital banking in terms of streamlining the process between the retailers, the suppliers, between shortening the cycles, and have a better utilizations for the cash flows for both suppliers as well as the retailers. So do you have specific plans how to serve this sector specifically? And we as a food cluster and food and beverage group, how can we help you to come up with the right solutions which will help us grow and do better business?
Thank you. So I hope I got the question right. So I think the whole infrastructure and the ecosystem. So Mbank is a community bank. So it's set up to help support the community. So building the right data sets, building the right connectivity across an ecosystem is what creates the connection between all the value chain, all stakeholders in the value chain. Now, once the setup is in place on both sides, everything else is streamlined and almost STP'd because all the factors, the criteria, the thresholds, everything is already embedded within that profile. And this is where the key is the data and assessing that data and assessing the requirements and the flow and the seasonality element of it. That's where the advisory team come into play. So when a customer's profile is set up, you make sure that everything based on the product set and the study of the nature of the business is already in place. So the setup is done one time, and then the whole connectivity is in place, whether it's the wallet, whether it's the short-term financing, or it's the payment processing. So that's all streamlined, linked to that one specific customer. And that's how we ensure then it's smoother, it's cheaper, and the turnaround time is impeccable, I guess, compared to today. Does that answer the question?
partially. Have to be true. Truthful.
And sorry, I
See,
can't hear properly because the speakers are that way. So the sound is
No,
not coming.
I do. Again, I want to repeat myself. I'll give you an example like our company, Al Islami Foods, been here in the country for the last maybe 35 years. We have Union Co-op as an example, or Carrefour, or Lulu, who we've been dealing with them for the last 30 years. Okay. So I'm giving you an example that our company been here for 35 years. We have been working with unions or Lulu or Carrefour for almost 30 years, doing the same process in a daily basis where we sell to them inventories, they prepare the checks, people writing checks, doing the receiving. So a lot of manual process is taking place. And the trust and the credit capabilities of both organizations is well known. Do we need to go through all this physical work, or we can streamline the process digitally with the right bank to streamline the process and make it faster and make it...
Correct. So, I mean, this is one part of what Mbank does. The other parts, so all the BAU that you've just described, your daily interactions, your daily processing, these are all parts of the innovative automation STP progress that's happening across the banking industry. But what we have here is the adoption of more of the digital routes and digital channels. And as the industry, all industries, as they evolve, we're getting more adoption to stable coins, cryptocurrencies, and straight-through processing. Today, what we're talking about is, what you're describing is automation. You would like to automate. STP, straight-through processing, is a different story. And what this ecosystem is doing is enhancing the STP rates. So the manual intervention, including automation, will be something of the past by adopting the digital route. So the structure and the ecosystem that's being built is completely STP. And that's what the real benefit is. So we're not creating new processes, or we're not trying to, I mean, automation is a given that any banking entity kind of works on. But what we're trying to do is STP. And that's where the connectivity and the profile is based on the customer themselves per industry. Does that help?
Yes, yes. And I would like to work really with Mbank in a new way of streamlining, as I said, the process. The way we've been doing this transactions for the last 20 years has been the same. With Mbank, with the digital banking, we would like to see a big transformations.
Correct.
To really leverage this.
Correct. And that's why I re-emphasize again, it's all about straight through and not automation. Automation can just streamline and avoid manual intervention and human error. But STP is almost instant.
Thank you.